Stay tuned to PBS 39 for an all-new episode of Focus Start with Art. We explore a new program called Arts and Access and meet a local photographer who brings visual art to the visually impaired. Plus, a Lehigh Valley oncologist inspires his cancer patient survivors and their families through music in a new PBS 39 original production called Close to Home. These stories and the Student Artist of the Month coming up on Focus Start with Art. Focus is for our community.
Focus showcases the people,
The places and the issues that matter to you.
focus on what matters.
You never know what you're going to see when you tune into Focus.
Support for Focus is provided by Univest, Banking, Insurance, Investments, Fellowship Community, Continuing Care with Spirit, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this special Focus on the Arts. I'm Laura McHugh. A new program from the Lehigh Valley Arts Council aims to increase accessibility among people with disabilities. Since July, the Arts Council has partnered with more than 30 organizations to create and schedule 50 performances, events, and exhibits. Here to tell us more about one of the participating artists is Focus reporter Brittany Garzillo.
Laura, Stephen Sunick is a teacher turned photographer. For the past decade, he's explored the United States and traveled abroad to capture moments in the natural world. More recently, his work has opened up a world of opportunity for those with visual impairments. As he walks a path through a late winter landscape, Stephen Sunick is on the lookout.
So we need to kind of look for something that's open, but nothing that stands out too much or is too unique.
Not for someone, but for something to capture in his next photograph.
Many landscape photographers search for beautiful settings, but you look for...
What I'm really looking for is the mundane, and a way to make those mundane places that we normally overlook monumentous.
By making the most out of what many would only notice for a moment.
See, these are kind of things that you're looking for. A nice path to go through. Trees, like these will be in the foreground, they'll stick out a little bit more. And just as you touch the trees here with the bark, you can actually feel that within the photograph itself too.
He's not just speaking figuratively. You can literally feel his photos.
My real intention was to give people an experience that they've never seen before. And the fact that, you can give sight in a way to the visually impaired that is a byproduct of the entire work.
His photos allow those with visual impairments to experience the visual arts.
That's amazing.
That's what Tina Toulouse experienced during Sunick's exhibit entitled Life Accessible at the Banana Factory in South Bethlehem.
It's a whole new world that I've never thought that I'd be able to experience this way. I take pictures at home. I have enough vision that through a camera lens that I can take pictures, but I have to make them so large in order to try to figure out what they are. And here, I'm closing my eyes and feeling moss in a photograph that it's soft like moss is outside.
Sunick captured these 8 photographs at Yellowstone National Park and uses what he believes is a proprietary printing process to make them 3-dimensional.
Unlike most art exhibits, Stephen encourages his audiences to get up close and personal with his work, to not only see, but to touch and feel each piece.
The people are what make the photographs powerful, not the photographs themselves.
So can you feel the clouds? Yes, you can feel the clouds. Yeah.
The one large picture I was able to feel the clouds, which is, amazing. I love it. It's an interesting concept. It's very detailed. I'm glad that it's here.
Jeffrey Gerhard is part of a group from the Center for Vision Loss in Allentown, here to experience Sunick's work firsthand. This 3-foot wide photo, entitled Barren Ground, took Sunick about 14 hours to print.
Using ink density of black ink, I print layers of black on top of a aluminum composite substrate and build up the layers to get the texture and the thickness of the different attributes within the image.
Sunik, a full-time printer at his family's sign company, spends anywhere from 8 to 16 hours printing each one of his photographs. Each one has about 20 to 30 layers of paper-thin ink that cause various textures. Sunik says unlike a 3D printer,
I'm building up the layers individually, and I'm telling the computer and printer what to do based on a photograph in and of itself.
Rita Lang manages the center's innovative programming. Due to a congenital eye condition, she has no depth perception or peripheral vision. Her sight is reduced to about the size of a pin.
It just gives the blind and visually impaired community the opportunity to be a part of the visual arts community.
A reminder that just because something is out of sight doesn't mean it's out of mind.
This is my community, and this art is for the people. It's not for me. You won't see any emotion of me within the photographs. It's all about the individual experience.
Steven's work is so new that he wouldn't let us capture the process.
As far as I know, no one else in the world has been doing this technique.
But it's safe to say he's captured something special for the people who his work has touched. For Focus, I'm Brittany Garzillo, reporting.
Thank you, Brittany. Steven Sunik's exhibit was among about 50 events scheduled through the Lehigh Valley Arts Council's Arts and Access program. To learn more, I'm now joined by the Arts Council's Executive Director, Randall Forte. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And you shared with me just recently something even more special about Sunik's exhibit.
Well, I thought they sang to you because when you touch them, they create sound, which is another level of sensory experience that you have with the artwork, which is really neat, I thought.
And this was just one of many, many events that were scheduled throughout the 2015-2016 season. Why was this program created?
Well, there are 81,000 people living in the Lehigh Valley with some form of disability. They live independently. They have families and friends, but most, unfortunately, for a long time, they never had access to cultural events. And now they do, and it's a very exciting program and initiative. We've done things like sensory-friendly environments for kids with autism and their family. We've had audio description of live theatrical performances for the visually impaired. There has been a movement workshop for Parkinson's patients and their caretakers, and for dance instructors in the Lehigh Valley. So exhibitions, film, theater, dance, performing arts, literary arts. We've tried to do a little of everything for all the people here in the Lehigh Valley.
It must have required a lot of creative thinking on the parts of the venues and the sponsors of the programs and the artists themselves to be able to create something that truly every single person could experience.
Well, the creativity is sort of a byproduct of being engaged in the arts. That was probably one of the easiest things for them to do. I think the coordination was the most important, and that's what we're currently involved with. This was a year-long event or initiative spurred by the 25th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, celebrating that for a year. That comes to a close this June 2016, and the Arts Council has decided to continue this program into the future so we can coordinate more of these activities, make people aware that the doors are opening for them to attend. Yes, it's been a regional-wide initiative.
Did you expect when you created it that it would be a full 50 programs and events, or did it grow?
Not really. We actually targeted 25 was our goal, because 25 years is the anniversary, 25 events, but the response has been very positive, and that's been really heartening to me.
Would you share some of the success stories with us?
Sure. There was a piece that was created by Satori. Nora Suggs is the executive director. It's a small chamber music group, and they worked with close to 50 deaf students at the IU from K through 12. She did a program that was entitled See the Art, Hear the Music. So it was a very multi-dimensional approach. They were teaching the kids about classical music. They played various various segments, different pieces of music for the students. It was American Sign Language interpreted by the ASL interpreter. There was a visual artist who was sketching his emotional response to the music, and then the students came up and were able to feel the vibrations of the instruments that the chamber orchestra was playing. So it was a tremendous and exciting opportunity. And actually, Satori, the musical group, I think walked away feeling more engaged and more inspired than even the students, who really enjoyed it as well.
You mentioned to me that Muhlenberg College also had a series of successful events as well.
Muhlenberg has been sort of a vanguard in this field, primarily because of the general manager, Jessica Bean, and the support she receives from the college theater department and dance department and from the university as a whole. They have been doing audio description of live plays. Audio description, for those in the audience who might not know, is a live description of what is happening on stage for the visually impaired. They have earphones, and a describer describes the action in between the dialogue so as not to interfere with them listening and picking up what's being said, but for movements and activity and action on stage that are important to the actual play, they're able to experience that through this live audio experience. And one of the fascinating things about that experience is that they come in about an hour early into the theater. They visit the stage, they touch the props, they sit on the set. The actors come out and speak to them beforehand, and then they're set in place before the regular audience comes in. So they have a full sensual experience, if you will, with the play. And for many of the folks that have been attending, this is their first time actually witnessing or experiencing a live theatrical event, and it's been very exciting for them.
And as we wrap up, how can our viewers learn more about the program and the events that are coming up?
Sure. We have a portal, a web portal, artsandaccess.org, which has a disability-friendly calendar of events listing well into the future things that are programmed or scheduled for them to see. So that's where I would direct people to go, artsandaccess.org. And I hope to see you and other people here in the community throughout the Valley enjoying some of these performances and events.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, our next guest uses the power of music to inspire cancer patients, survivors, and their families. Gynecologic oncologist Dr. Rick Boulay is featured in the upcoming PBS 39 program, Close to Home. This original production documents survivors' journeys with cancer.
Today, more than 50% of patients treated for cancer in this country live complete and full lives. They live well.
Having cancer has taught me many things. There's a lot of ups, there's a lot of downs, but one of the key things that certainly helped me is to stay positive and to hang around positive people.
I would never say, why me? That is so dumb.
We're all human beings. We're born to have something broken inside of us.
Cancer is not just a disease. Cancer is a stepping forward to grow.
It's important to trust your instincts and to keep asking questions.
Because there's never a right word to say to someone who has cancer, except for maybe I love you.
But there's a way to still bring a good gift. There's a way to still bring a healing that goes beyond medical capacity.
This experience makes my home very dear to me. It makes me appreciate things in life more than I did before, things that I had taken for granted.
It's really wonderful to see patients who gain strength from their journey through cancer and then pay that forward.
To know that, no matter what happens at the end, we're going to be okay.
We are all here walking each other home.
Dr. Rick Boulay is featured in this program. He's the chief of the Division of Gynecologic Oncology for Lehigh Valley Health Network, and he joins us now. Dr. Boulay, you've been the driving force behind this program. What will viewers see when they watch this program coming up in 2016?
Yeah, Close to Home has been a project we've been working on for about a year now. It's nice to see it finally come together.
The driving force has been a passion of mine for many, many years now, and we spend a lot of time in cancer narratives discussing both the beginning and the end of the journey, but very, very little time focused on the middle part of that journey. That part is incredibly transformative for patients going through a cancer journey as well as those around them. There's so much wisdom that's obtained in that part, but it doesn't go anywhere. It just kind of sits there. So we're looking for ways, and I've been looking for ways, this will be one of them, of getting out that wisdom that people accumulate and getting it to share it with other people and seeing how it resonates so people can try on different strategies as they focus on their journey through cancer.
And in this piece, it really does explore the many different ways that people cope and heal, not just physically, but also spiritually and emotionally. And music is one of those ways for you.
Exactly.
How did you discover the healing power of music for you and your patients?
Music has always been something I've enjoyed, and it's been a pastime of mine for many years. I didn't realize it would come up to the forefront as it has. My wife is a leukemia survivor. She is about 8 years now. And when she was diagnosed, that abyss that many families fall into when they're diagnosed with a cancer was one that I struggled to get out of. And there were two things that helped me. The first one was music, which I listened to very, very differently. And in those quiet times in the middle of the night when you can't sleep, it's a nice way to, it's a nice distraction. But it tells a different story than I'd heard before. And the second were patient narratives, people's experiences as they've walked this journey. You can find them in blogs, you can find them on the internet. So I spent a lot of alone time in the middle of the night with both of those.
It put you on the other side of your patients. You were here a caregiver and a spouse to somebody when usually you're the medical provider and the care provider in that way. What did you learn from going through that experience? And does it make you a better doctor today?
I hope. What I've learned was really, really humbling because I am an intuitive person and I think I get other people. And I thought I got this journey. And I didn't. I really didn't. Wow. So I found myself really grasping and really looking for ways out of the abyss. And who came to my rescue? My patients. So I just feel so privileged to walk this journey with them because they have given me, and they barely know it, but they have given me so much more than I've given them. And this, I think I understood the breadth of the journey, but the depth and the emotionality. And as you talk about this what we call the psychosocial overlay in medicine, the spirituality, the social interactions, and how people live their lives. And we focused on that in the Close to Home documentary and called it that specifically because so much of this healing happens at home, which is why I didn't see it. You know, it doesn't happen in the doctor's offices. We do a treatment plan, we treat the disease, and learning to treat the patient was incredibly valuable, and I hope it makes me a better doctor.
So you not only found healing through listening to music, but now you also perform.
So yeah, so that went to the next step, and the very first time that happened was shortly after my wife was diagnosed. I did a disc CD, full-length CD called Hope, and I think it was part of me trying to find it. You know, I felt like I had some of the answers, but looking back now, it was really an exploration. So that was fun. And in turn, I did two others and started to do live concerts. We call them concerts, but they're probably better described as events, where we bring patients, survivors, caregivers together, and we discuss varying topics in cancer survivorship, things that you wouldn't think about. You know, what are the funny things that happened? What are the really difficult moments that you stumbled through? How did spirituality play out? How do you find hope? Those sorts of things. And we divide each section into a song section and a discussion section. So the emotionality can live in the song part. And then the transformative part, the sort of cerebral and thinking part, lives in the discussion part. So people get a little bit of both. And I think that's what makes this so unique, because in most other places, we try to separate those. And when we put them together, they kind of bleed into each other and make it a little murky. But when we do them in this kind of side-by-side approach, it just is a really nice way to explore these feelings and thoughts.
And I think anybody who's known someone who's gone through cancer, which everyone truly has, can learn a lot from these experiences. When is the next time you'll be performing?
So we'll be at Symphony Hall, Miller Symphony Hall in Allentown on Friday night, April the 29th, and again on Saturday, April the 30th. It will be the same format as we've done in the past, but entirely different songs and entirely different modules of discussion topics that we'll be using.
Well, thank you so much for your working close to home, the work that you do in the community, and for sharing it all with our viewers today.
Thank you. And thank you guys at PBS 39 for helping me through all this. It's just been a wonderful experience.
Thank you. Well, from one crooner to another, it's now time for the PBS 39 Artist of the Month. Here's Christian, a young man with a passion for music.
Hi, I'm Christian, and I'm the PBS 39 Artist of the Month. I was about 2 years old when I started singing. I first noticed that I had a talent for singing when I was in first grade, and I did a talent show. I got a lot of compliments on it, so I felt that I did pretty well. I learned how to sing from my dad because he gives singing lessons and he gives me a lot of pointers and tips that are really helpful. I sing all the time, every single day, any chance I get. I love to sing because it makes me feel really happy and it makes other people feel happy. Girl, you make me lose my mind. To be a great singer, you have to strive for all of your goals and be the best you that you can be. I want to be a professional singer, actor, and hopefully be in musicals on Broadway. I am honored to be the PBS 39 Artist of the Month.
Thanks, Christian. And Brittany, it was really interesting to then hear Randall's perspective about how there was some sound and vibration to the pieces as well.
Well, yeah, because there's the layers to the pieces. They really are like three-dimensional. So when you feel them, it does make a noise as you go over top of them. I thought it was so exciting to go into a gallery and be able to touch everything.
No kidding.
So that's a really unique experience as well. And what's also interesting is this wasn't Stephen's intention to make art for the visually impaired. It was just a byproduct of his work, but nonetheless, it's really impacted those with impairments.
And while you had this amazing, engaging experience, Grover had his own interactive experience. Grover, you recently covered the Bethlehem Palette Club.
Yes, what a talented group of people.
And attended a paint-in for last month's show.
Right.
But this month, you were the subject.
Well, they were always looking for subjects for their paint-ins because it's in the morning and sometimes difficult to get people to rearrange their schedules. But what an honor, really, to be able to sit for some of the best artists in the Lehigh Valley. Sandra Kapora, I think, really came out on top. She's a terrific artist, and she even has an exhibit at the State Theater right now. But hands down, I think everyone agrees that her photo, it's better than a photo.
Her portrait was.
Yeah, her oil painting of me was good, in spite of the subject.
And it really captured so much of your personality and your character. We smiled so much when we saw it.
Quite an experience to sit there for 3 hours with the same expression.
I can imagine.
Yeah, you get into a Zen experience. And if you change like a little bit of your look, suddenly, a couple of the artists go, could you go back to the way you were, like posing? And I go, did I change? So.
I liked the expression that you had.
Oh, thank you.
In it as well.
Thank you. I couldn't get out of that expression for the rest of the day because I had spent 3 hours frozen in that way.
It was very Grover-esque. It's certainly a photo, a portrait that we'll cherish forever.
Well, I may even put it on my Facebook page.
Oh, we'll have to look.
Please
but
do.
Thank you, Sandy. Great job.
Thank you, Grover, and thank you, Brittany, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. Until then, remember to focus on what matters.